Be friendly with the breath. Be friendly with the body. Metta in the Buddhism means friendly or friendship or befriend. Metta, mittang, mitta. And ภาษาไทยเรามิตรภาพนะ So be kindly, be friendly with the breath and the body. And actually, the mindfulness will be friendly to everything. Mindfulness doesn't do anything more than just knowing the object. It's really not doing anything more than that. And that's why become calmness or the concentration, unlike the thought, is do everything, ruin everything. Remember, there was one short verse in the Pali Canon where the monks were sitting in the hut during the rainstorm, and he said, "My hut is well thatched," means well covered. So please go ahead. You are like my hut. I think that is a symbol for the mind that's well trained. It can deal with any situation, no matter how good or how bad things are outside. The mind is protected. The good mind and the bad things are the opposite side. And the good and the bad things cannot penetrate into the mind when the mind is well protected. It's just like the hut is well thatched. Lokadhamma, dhammas of the world. That means good things and bad things. Lokadhamma. Most people's minds are not simply penetrated by those things. They are totally flooded, totally overwhelmed in gain and loss, status and loss of the status, praise and criticism, pressure and pain. These things are constantly raining down on our heart and mind. And most people are out in the open, totally opposed, with no protection at all, thinking that gain must be good, loss must be bad, status is good, loss of status is bad, praise is good, criticism is bad, pressure is good, pain is bad. So the mind is totally overwhelmed by whatever comes on the way, hoping that the good things will last and bad things will stay away. But as we all know, these good things and bad things come in pairs, and none of them last forever. They keep changing. This is why we need to train the mind so that we can separate ourselves from them, so that we can have a well thatched roof that can protect from the rain, and well sealed walls that can protect from the wind, roof to protect from the rain, and the wall protect from the wind. A well-trained mind can protect Lokadhamma. So the meditation process is just learning to get ourselves inside the heart, learning how not to identify with the dharmas of the world. So we are protected, just like we open up our umbrella in the rain. We can walk in the rain. We had a well-trained mind as an umbrella. It's very important that we have to protect ourselves from the rain of the world. That is learning how to not identify with things that are subject to gain and loss, status and loss of status. Do not make them as a part of our self-identity. Learn how to see them simply as Lokadhammas. It's just an aspect of the world. They are not aspects of our mind. Let it be there outside. Don't let Lokadhamma comes in the mind. And for that, we train the mind. We develop the sati, the mindfulness that can protect the Lokadhamma comes in the mind. Let them live outside. If you don't identify with them, you are not exposed to them. And that's when you can learn how to use them wisely, for they can be your tools, all of them. The usefulness of the gain, status, stress, and pressure is actually very obvious, although we usually don't use them very skillfully, which means that we don't get much actual goodness out of them. When the gain comes, people tend to identify with it. A lot of people make it as a part of self image and do some unskillful things with it rather than seeing as something of the world that has temporarily comes their way. I remember when I first learning kanti with my mom, we practicing just kanti, be patient to the pain, whatever pains appearing during the meditation, we apply kanti, endurance. I used to ask the question, when the gain come in our way, what I am going to do, how I am going to squeeze the best use of it. It doesn't mean squeezing as much pressure as you can. It means squeezing that is actually useful. And that's, I can see the gains training my mind. Sometimes the best way to deal with it, just be generous with it. And that is the most discerning way to help ourselves or other people. What other good qualities can you derive from using those gains wisely? Same way, when the loss comes, what can you learn from that? There are good lessons to be learned from the loss. Learn from the suffering is better than learning from the happiness. You learn a lot when you suffer. It doesn't matter as long as we don't keep our identity or tie up in the loss or gain. It is one good lesson. Who are our true friend? Who are the people who are willing to help us even though they can see you any immediate gain coming from it? That's a good lesson to learn. I used to be in a very serious pain in my life, but I learned a lot at the same time when I was in pain. When we are pain, when we are in pain, that's where we can develop mindfulness. And sooner or later, we become the one who see the pain. We are not pain. When you're going around the wealthy, you don't know who is your friends. But when you are in suffer, you will know the real friends. You will have a true friend. It's just like that. We will get, we will get to see a true friend when we are suffer. Same thing when we are in the pain, we can gain, we can have mindfulness as the best friend. That's what my mom taught me. She was in pain. I was in serious pain in my life. And I think everyone here, so the pain is a raw material to produce the tool, sati. And you can just let them be outside. You just look into it. And it's just one calamities, just one big pain in your life. You can have a wonderful tool like sati, mindfulness, and the wisdom. Most of the people who could pass the serious pain or calamity or the tornado in life enlighten, achieve, accomplish success in life. Most of Buddha's disciples just like that. Before come to see Buddha and get ordained directly by Buddha, they were all in serious pain. And that's how you can let the Lokadhammas stay outside and look at them, look at them, and look at them. The same thing with the press, same thing with the gain, same thing with the status, loss of status. When the press comes, what the best use of the press is not to be, don't let ourselves get all puffed up thinking that we already good enough. It is just to let us know that our goodness is appreciated. Just come to encourage us to keep on doing good and trying to do it better. That's it. The criticism, even though we don't like it, somebody comment on the Facebook, tend to be a lot more useful than praise, at least for two reasons. One, you may actually learn things about yourself that you otherwise wouldn't know. We tend to be very blind to our weakness, our failing, the areas where we really need to do work. Part of us may know, but we figure that as long as nobody else is noticing, it doesn't really matter. So it is good to get criticism to help us realize that people are noticing us. We're not gone out of the bounds, or we are lacking something that really does matter. That's one time the Buddha said when someone pointing out our faults, regard that the person or someone who has pointed out a treasure, you got something that we can work on, right? Even though for some criticism are not true, we still learn something about the person who criticizes us, which is always a useful lesson. It may not be a lesson you want to learn or like to learn, but it's good to know who has accrued against you, who is unfair to you. It is a good lesson to learn who is a real friend, who is a fake friend. So, for pressure and pain, just notice how the Buddha used them because they both have their use. We tend to take a pressure as a goal. We want as much pressure as possible, but this is get us in a lot of trouble. Not that pressure is bad, just that we are pretty indiscriminate how we relate to the pressure. The Buddha has has sort of all kind of pressure are actually harmful, which ones are harmless. The main harmless ones are those based on getting the mind into concentration. Because this is a pressure where you not in conflict with anybody. When you're sitting here looking at your breath, nobody is trying to elbow you out of the way so that they can hawk your breath. It is totally yours. It is an entire field open for you to explore, and you can reap what the pressure you can. That is very rare kind of the pressure in the world, right? You are not creating any bad karma with anybody when you are in a meditation. You are not creating any unskillful mental states. There may be just a little slight attachment to the pressure of the concentration, even a strong attachment, but it's a healthy attachment. Attached to the concentration is much more better than attached to the happiness outside. Is a healthy attachment. Anyway, there is a danger of the concentration that lies in the wrong concentration. The concentration that devoid of mindfulness. Concentration that devoid of alertness. The concentration that try to exert the power over other people to win the respect, or we call wrong view. Concentration as a mental factor itself is neither good nor bad. The issue is with how much the mindfulness and alertness it has, how you understand it, what you are trying to get out of it. That makes all difference. And the dangers of the concentration are much less than the danger of all the sensual passion that we are otherwise attached to it. I'm thinking back of the time when I really reading a lot of Tipitaka, and I found that the Buddha has a long list of the dangers of the passion for the sensual pleasures. But as for the dangers of the concentration, you really have to search really hard to find a sutta that talks about them. Even the primary sutta that does simply note that once you have got your mind in concentration, then when you try to incline it towards letting go of your identity will, the mind may not leap up at the idea of letting go. In other words, you still attached to the concentration. But again, the fault is not with the concentration. It is with your unwillingness to let it go. And I compare that with the dangers of the sensual pressure and passions. I found that when people are enmeshed in the sensual passion, the mind certainly don't incline to letting go of identity will. You can see the people kill one another over sensual pressure. We have wars over sensual pressure. Societies break apart over sensual pressure. Families break apart. People work themselves to death, or in the quest for the wealth, they push themselves to all kinds of extremes. I used to read about the Arctic exploration, the dream of the goal up in the Arctic kill people. But through my experience of meditation, I never see anybody get killed over jhana. So this is a useful pressure, a healthy pressure, blameless. It is a part of the path that you learn to use this pressure to get the mind in a position where it can really look into the flip side of the pressure, pain, which the Buddha said is a noble truth. When the mind is well fed with skillful sense of well-being, it's ready is a true text with regard to the stress and pain, which is to comprehend it. If you are afraid of pain, if you run away from it, if you try to push it away, you are not going to comprehend it. Comprehending comes from looking at it steadily with the mindfulness, seeing for what it is, just seeing, just simply looking at it. You're not doing anything, but you can be comprehend, seeing where you're still passionate for things that cause stress, that cause pain. When you learn how to feel this passion for those things, and that is when you have really comprehend the stress. That's what I talked to Kunai today during the meditation class, and we understood why we are looking to the pain and for comprehension. The pressure of the concentration is what allows you to look at the pain to the point of comprehending it. To me, the important point with regard to all the dhammas of the world is learning how to use them. I mean, Lokadhamma. We have to learn how to make use of them. They do have the use as long as we don't identify with them. They are the tools that we can use it. It's just like the water of the rain. Instead of getting soaked by it, you learn how to take the runoff from the roof and store it in the jars. You learn how to build a holding tank or the pond. Then you can use the rainwater to drink, to bath yourself, to irrigate the rice field. Then the water of the rain is beneficial. It's all about the pain. It's all about the suffering that we're supposed to comprehend it and begin with just looking. Just be mindful, looking at mindfully, looking at the pain mindfully. We're not doing anything. We don't fight against pain. We're just looking. When you comprehend the pain, you comprehend Four Noble Truths at the same time. because through the pain you see the cause of the pain, and the cause of the pain collapse when you look into the cause, and that is the end of the suffering, the collapse of the cause of the pain. So sometimes or always we have to expose to the rain. We have to expose to the pain so that we can learn all aspects of the pain, how big, how small, in all dimensions. We may have to be soaked in for a while, but that's how your mindfulness gets stronger when things are obvious. So when we are meditating, we're trying to develop the roof, the well-covered roof, ability to keep the mind focused on the breath and the right attitude that allow us to see this affair of the world for what they are. They are not really us, not really ours. They are just a part of the world. Just like money. You may have a lot of money in your pocket, but is this not really yours? It's just printed by the government. You look at the money and see, does it have your name printed on it? No. Sometimes no picture of anybody. It's the government money. Otherwise, it has got another people names print on it. Even with a credit card that does have your name on it. But there is a bank names on it also. It's not yours. It's not you only, but also banks. And the name of the bank is really bigger than your name, which is very small, little tiny name printed in the credit card. But the name of the bank are bigger. It is in the chart of what you can and you can not do with the card. So it's not yours. It's a bank's. They limit you what you can do, what you can do. So it's not your credit card. As for the value of the money, the government and the banks can change it anytime, whenever they want to. If they want to call it back, they could do it. In the meantime, while you have got it, you use it. That's it. And you try to use it as wisely as possible with the realization that it's not really yours to keep. It is a part of the world. That's all. So the meditation will train you to make that distinction. You will find a lot easier to live in this world and not soak up all the craziness of the world. You can stay warm and dry in your hut. You will be well thatched, well covered. The rain may be falling all around, but it cannot penetrate the roof. You can set out your jar to get the running water, put it into the tank, get some use out of it, which is much wiser than just going out walking in the rain, keeping yourself exposed all the time without any shelter. And that's how the meditation has offered to you, to all. Take a deep breath in, long breathing out. Deep breath in, long breath out. And prepare your mind, prepare your happy mind to share, to spreading to all being. Upamanya, sharing your loving kindness to all being. Boundless loving kindness.
สัพเพสัตตาอเวราโหนตุอัพพยาปัชชาโหนตุอนีฆาโหนตุสุขีอัตตานังปริหารันตุ